Oh, I thought I looked okay with this light. Now it's brighter. So I'm doing this update because as my symptoms improve and as I get better, I've been through Sonata twice and had the Novasure, and finally, I think there's been improvement. So now it's 9 months. 2 years prior to 9 months ago, I had my first Sonata, and basically nothing seemed to change. Things got, they were bad. I wasn't in pain after the first Sonata. I would say 4 months after my first Sonata, the pain had gone away, which the pain was unimaginably excruciating. Um, 3 days bedridden, screaming to the heavens, no Advil, nothing would take this pain away. Um, So, I would dread my period plus bleeding to death practically every month for 2 weeks. 4 of those days being just massive amounts of blood. Like I thought I was going to bleed to death. I went anemic. So finally, the doctor listened to me via the email system. I had to, send a picture of what I was enduring to finally get a response. I guess because people that source their emails on the other side just ignored me. A lot of doctors just want a doctor appointment. They don't want to respond to your questions via the email system. So it was a 4-year process to finally get some results. Um, Pain, just mental agony as well because of having to stay home and just contend with this amount of blood. I have what is called innumerable fibroids with 4 large ones. So I don't know why after uh, my first encounter with a doctor 2 years prior to the first Sonata that a fibroid was or a polyp was removed. It was a fibrous polyp, and I was told that should help my situation. I am over 50. Um, yeah, at the time I wasn't. Yeah, but I am over 50, and so it was a really traumatizing, mentally. I shouldn't say the word traumatizing, not for. Um, well, maybe the system was, um, but not. No, it was a really turbulent enough information given to me, and I had to do most of the research and work myself to get myself in a better state. And that began physically. They speak to symptoms first, and then of course mentally, because how did I get myself into this state? And if you watch my other videos, I'll say, uh, you know, that sex with the wrong person can create really, really horrible uh, responses and long-term effects. So I had been married to the wrong person and involved with this person for over 25 years, and it was an excruciating relationship. Um, Having begun somewhat young, I didn't have any sort of guidance as to this situation. What's transpiring here is not right for any human to endure. So I endured it without kicking and screaming the whole way. However, I didn't. I had a really thick breast skull, so I didn't get to the point where I honored myself and allowed myself to feel this is inhumane. You know what I was enduring. So anyway, that's the number one thing I say, because the body, as I've said in other videos, keeps the score. And whether or not you think it does, it will. So here I was with this fibroid condition, which was the most serious condition after me having survived cancer in 2008. This was the next most serious, like life debilitating, um, life interrupting situation. Now I have high blood pressure, so it's interesting. I mean, I've had high blood pressure for 10 years, but it's at the point where I have to not be in denial about that. unfortunately, the 4-year process dealing with this amount of blood, and that kind of took over the focus and the priority. Even though I come to find out that um, high blood pressure can cause fibroids to grow, can cause fibroids, and I even think it's like almost just like the doctor had explained, my last doctor who helped me finally, because what she did when I got the first Sonata, it unfortunately did not help me. I had to do the Sonata again, cutting out more fibroids, as well as a Novasure, which is a complete endometrial ablation. Before then, this is all to avoid hysterectomy, which I have so far, thank God. But I want to say that a lot of my symptoms, the symptoms that go along with having fibroids, have diminished. Like no headaches, not really bloating, maybe a feeling of fullness. I guess I still have the hormonal feelings of edginess, which causes me to eat a little bit more, or not feeling satiated. I think that's definitely, like, the hormones are like steroids in a way. I had gained weight because not because of my natural hormones, but because of not only the situation, but I did dabble in progesterone before the last Sonata Novasure procedure, and that was not good for me. The hormones, I had forgotten that progesterone, this is the bioidentical natural progesterone, whatever it is like a steroid. So I had remembered after the fact that the steroids caused me to feel like, insane hunger, like I could not be satiated. So I was eating more than what I should have. The appetite was like big. So I gained, weight, plus being sedentary with the ordeal for many months. I mean, I was active, but a lot of times I'd just be sedentary, contending with what my body was doing for me. Um, Not to me, I guess it's for me. So anyway, I want to say that just the 9-month follow-up, when you're faced with something like this, you're not going to have children anymore, you're not planning on having children, the endometrial ablation is what helped me. Now, some people with the fibroids, their doctors offer that to them first. I think I was wary about getting the endometrial ablation. There was a combination of the lack of information, because I thought, oh, if I take out the fibroids, that should help the issue. But Sonata only targets a couple of fibroids, even though some were cut out. Like I said, I have innumerable fibroids. So the ones that were targeted, others in the lining of the uterus could keep growing. So my fibroids were all intramural and going into the uterus. Those are the ones that cause the problems. And I have one going out of the uterus, but that's not causing the problem. So I don't have pain. And my periods now, I would say after the 4th or 5th month after my second Sonata and Novasure, the blood was like way less, even after the first one. But when I say way less by the 4th and 5th, it's the blood is less than what I had when I was a kid. And my periods were pretty bad when I was a kid, like starting from the beginning, when I first, had a full period. I had really bad symptoms, not the amount of blood so much. I mean, when I think back, maybe even that was too much, but not compared to what these massive fibroid and what the ordeal was that sent me to the hospital and, caused me to become anemic. So I'm not anemic anymore, which, thank God. I think the work I did with the iron, I actually don't think I need so much iron anymore, because I'm not expelling this blood as insanely as I was, and I was taking the iron supplements. But when I say I don't think I need the iron anymore, because now this iron is causing me to have headaches. So whenever I take the iron, and I was taking it during my period, these last couple of periods, and I thought, oh, the headaches are from the period, but no. I didn't take it this last period, and I didn't have a headache. Like I said, the only thing I had was like this edginess, and And I think like that could also be because of my high blood pressure too. Um, anyway, I figured out I'm not in denial anymore about my high blood pressure. I was in denial for about 10 years, meaning denial, meaning not doing anything about it, thinking I could get it down by breathing and just my general exercises. And like I said, my diet went off the rails a little bit. So I was eating more fats like coconut oil and coconut cream and uh, maybe some fried foods as well, salty things. I have to cut it back on all that, and I will, and I'm focused on losing the weight. Um, and I'll be experimenting with other foods to make things that are like tofuti or stuff. Maybe I can make a tofuti my own instead of the coconut cream because I was replacing the coconut cream with from heavy cream. Not that I use that much, but I thought, oh, it's coconut cream, I could use it. So I began to use that more liberally, and then I was making my own nut milks and putting coconut in it because I wanted it creamier. I got to stop all that because I can't mess around with the saturated fat. So I have to lower my cholesterol. I found out that I had the lipoprotein A, which is inherited, and that's when I was like, okay, now for some reason with my thick skull, I had to get it through my head when I found out that that was inherited, and then it was like really high. It was like 112. It's supposed to be under 26. Um, I'm like, there's no messing around anymore. So I wanted to encourage people and to know about the Sonata and the endometrial ablation as options for heavy bleeding when you are um, not in menopause. I don't even think I'm in menopause yet. I mean, they say I am, but you know, when you still have a period, you're not in menopause. You might not even be perimenopausal, and I'm over 50, and I didn't want a hysterectomy. When you show up with healthcare, they think, oh, you have money. No, excuse me, but I don't. Not only do I not have money, I can't afford to take off. So my options were there was a combination. I didn't want much invasive treatment. I wanted to preserve my uterus, and when I think about it, yeah, I wanted to preserve my completely deformed uterus, but and I can't take off. So that's the update, and please like and subscribe if you can, because I wanted to go live with my mobile so you wouldn't see all this, and I was too lazy to move it out of the way. But these are more projects over here, but and I couldn't with the vertical mobile because you need 50. And my face is a little broken. I developed a sensitivity to spices, so that's the other thing is probably part of the aging process. Just aging. It might not be menopause or perimenopause or whatever. It probably is perimenopause, but I don't see any end in sight to this perimenopause. Okay, anytime soon. But with that, they say skin is affected too, like rosacea and whatnot. So anyway, please write into me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer. Look at my other videos. Guard your heart, guard yourself, protect your peace, guard your peace. Um, and watch all those good people that talk about these things because they are way more versed than I am. The only other thing I would leave with you is my definition for love, which you can find on my other channel. This is how you know what love is. Love is attending to the emotional well-being of another being. Okay? So it's simple, yet, and if you don't understand it, really delve into it and try to excavate that on your own. I excavated in other videos, but use that as a bar and the barometer to test when you hear the word love being used, and also for yourself when someone says that they love you or that you say you love somebody. What you are saying is, I am attending to your emotional well-being, and what the other person is saying to you when they say I love you is that they are attending to your emotional well-being. But if you know for certain that you're in an emotional upheaval, then you can say that that person is not attending to your emotional well-being and therefore does not love you. Okay, that's how it can be deciphered. Okay. Um, yes. And just I lost my train of thought with that. But in my other videos, I do talk about that. So anyway, I will maybe give a year update. I'm doing less of these. The more I have detoxed myself from my awful relationship, when they say, oh, you have to heal from a relationship, it's almost like a detox. You have to detox your body from it and allow yourself to detox your body. And how do you, part of the detoxing is expanding your awareness and knowledge and gathering information from the specialists that know and talk about relationships and relationship dynamics beginning from childhood and throughout, because the foundation is set in childhood for your understanding and awareness of what and how uh, to operate as an adult within another romantic relationship. Okay, what it looks like and how to operate. All right. Buena suerte, buena fortuna, and good night.